What if becoming great at something had nothing to do with talent? What if every master, from artists to athletes, began as an ordinary beginner? This story reveals the hidden path to mastery, how focus, daily effort, and unstoppable curiosity can turn anyone, including you, into an expert at anything. People often believe that talent is what separates the great from the average. They think some people are born gifted, while others are not. But history and science tell a different story. What truly creates mastery is not talent. It is obsession, persistence, and time. Every expert once looked foolish. Every skilled person once struggled to understand the basics. The difference between the expert and the average person is not natural ability but the willingness to endure failure again and again without giving up. Most people cannot stand looking bad for too long. They want results quickly. When improvement feels slow, they quit. But those who become masters learn to stay in the uncomfortable stage of learning. They know that progress hides in repetition and patience. When you see a world-class musician, an elite athlete, or a great entrepreneur, you are not seeing talent. You are seeing thousands of hours of disciplined practice. You are seeing years of silent effort that no one else noticed. Talent is not what they had at the beginning. It is what they built through endless refinement. So instead of saying, "I'm not talented," ask yourself a better question. How much time have I really spent improving? The truth is, talent is often just early exposure combined with long practice. Someone who seems naturally gifted simply started earlier or stayed longer. If you want to become an expert, you must fall in love with the process of getting better, not just the results. Every mistake is a step forward. Every small failure teaches you something that smooths the path to success. It is not the fast learner who wins, it is the one who never stops learning. The greatest advantage you can have is not intelligence or luck. It is the ability to show up every day with curiosity and humility. You must be willing to look like a beginner, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because every expert was once someone who dared to be bad and kept going anyway. Stop believing in the myth of talent. Replace it with the truth of effort. You are not born limited. You are shaped by what you practice. Mastery is not magic. It is momentum built over time. Talent might open the door, but only discipline keeps it open. Most people never reach mastery not because they lack intelligence or opportunity, but because they cannot choose. They start one thing, then another, constantly jumping from skill to skill, goal to goal. The result is a life full of half-finished projects and wasted potential. True mastery demands total focus. Focus is not about doing more. It is about doing less but doing it with intensity. In a world full of noise and options, focus becomes your greatest advantage. The people who rise to the top are not those who try everything but those who commit to one thing long enough to get extraordinary at it. Imagine each skill as a mountain. Many people begin to climb one, get tired halfway, and then move to another mountain because it looks easier or more exciting. They spend years wandering between mountains but never reach the peak of any. Meanwhile, the person who chose one mountain and climbed it every single day, no matter how steep or slow the progress, eventually reaches the summit and sees what others never will. To become an expert, you must pick your mountain. Ask yourself a simple but powerful question. What is the one skill that, if I mastered it, would completely change my life? It could be public speaking, writing, coding, design, teaching, business strategy, or even emotional intelligence. Whatever it is, decide. And once you decide, go all in. Going all in means giving your chosen skill the best hours of your day. It means saying no to distractions, to multitasking, and even to other good opportunities that do not align with your main goal. It means replacing quantity with quality. Every hour you spend mastering one thing builds a deeper foundation than 10 hours spent dabbling in many. It will not always be exciting. Some days you will feel stuck, bored, or frustrated. That is where most people quit. But that is also where progress hides. When things feel repetitive, it is a sign that you are entering the real work, the kind that transforms ability into expertise. Do not fear focus. Fear distraction. Because distraction feels productive, but it quietly kills progress. Every time you switch tasks, you reset your momentum. Every time you chase something new, you abandon the compound interest of effort. So, pick your skill and commit fully. Give it months, even years, of consistent practice. Pour your time, your attention, and your energy into becoming exceptional at it. Remember this truth: diluted effort creates diluted results. The world does not reward those who start many things. It rewards those who finish one thing with excellence. Motivation feels powerful, but it is unreliable. It comes and goes like weather. One day you feel unstoppable, the next you cannot get out of bed. Discipline, however, is steady. Discipline does not care about feelings. It simply shows up. Every expert you admire was not driven by constant motivation. They were guided by relentless discipline. True mastery lives in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It happens in the early mornings when the world is asleep, in the late nights when the easy choices rest, and in the dull repetition that most people run away from. Mastery is not built in moments of excitement, but in moments of boredom. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. If your habits are inconsistent, your progress will be inconsistent. If your habits are solid and steady, your growth becomes inevitable. That is why you must stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is an illusion. The only way to feel ready is to begin. The secret of the masters is identity. They do not say, "I am trying to get better." They say, "I am a writer, I am a musician, I am a coder, I am a learner." Once you identify with the work, practice stops being optional. It becomes part of who you are. Small daily actions matter more than rare bursts of energy. You can train for 30 minutes a day and outperform someone who trains for 6 hours once a month. Consistency compounds. Every repetition, no matter how small, stacks up over time. It is like drops of water carving through stone, slow, invisible, but unstoppable. There will be days when you feel tired, distracted, or uninspired. Those days test your commitment. When you practice even on those days, you are not just building skill, you are building resilience. You are training your mind to work without depending on emotion. Progress often hides behind monotony. The same drills, the same routines, the same feedback loops may feel dull, but every repetition strengthens your foundation. What feels repetitive to you is what refines you. Every day you show up, you are sending a message to your brain: this matters. So, create a daily ritual. A time, a place, and a focus. Protect it like it is sacred. It does not have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. In the end, the difference between those who dream and those who master is simple. The dreamers work when they feel like it. The masters work even when they don't. Because showing up daily, especially when it hurts, is not a punishment, it is the path to greatness. Every great achievement is built on an invisible mountain of hours. Experts are not born with extraordinary talent, they are made through extraordinary consistency. The 10,000-hour rule, made famous by researchers and writers, is not a rigid formula. It is a reminder of what mastery truly requires: time, patience, and deliberate practice. 10,000 hours is not about the number. It is about the mindset. It means showing up again and again when others stop. It means pushing through plateaus, boredom, and self-doubt. It means being willing to look foolish for years, knowing that every small step compounds into something great. Experts don't count the hours. They focus on the next repetition, the next drill, the next improvement. They are not obsessed with the finish line, they are obsessed with the climb. Instead of asking, "Am I talented enough?" they ask, "How can I get 1% better today?" That question is the heart of Kaizen, a Japanese philosophy meaning continuous improvement. Kaizen teaches that small, steady progress every day eventually transforms everything. You don't need to improve by 50% overnight. You only need 1%. If you grow 1% better each day, you will be 37 times better after 1 year. That is the quiet mathematics of greatness. This is how true mastery works. Most people chase instant results. They try, fail, and quit because they do not see immediate change. But experts trust the invisible. They know that progress is like the growth of a tree. At first, it is all roots, unseen, silent, and slow. But those roots are what make the tree unshakable later. To master anything, shift your focus from performance to progress. Write down your practice hours. Track your smallest victories. If you studied for 30 minutes instead of scrolling on your phone, that counts. If you corrected one mistake you made yesterday, that counts. Each action is a seed, and consistency is the sunlight that helps it grow. Perfection is not the goal. Improvement is. Every expert is still a student, even after decades. They do not ask, "When will I be done?" because they know mastery is endless. They understand that the more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. So fall in love with the process, not the prize. Let the work itself become your reward. If you show up, stay patient, and move forward 1% each day, you will wake up one day and realize you have become the person you once dreamed of being. Mastery is not built in leaps but in layers. One deliberate hour, one consistent effort, one quiet improvement at a time. That is how ordinary people become experts. And that is how experts stay great forever. In the modern world, noise is everywhere. Everyone online seems to be an expert, a coach, or a teacher. But very few have actually done the work long enough to understand what mastery truly feels like. To become great at anything, you must learn to separate the signal from the noise, to listen not to the loudest voices, but to the most proven ones. Find one or two true masters in your field. Not influencers, but builders. Not people who speak beautifully about success, but people whose work stands the test of time. Study their results, not their reputation. Watch how they think, how they fail, how they recover. Observe their patience, not just their performance. Real learning comes from depth, not from endless variety. You don't need 50 teachers, you need a few who embody the values you want to live by. Read their books, listen to their stories, and analyze their process. Then, instead of trying to become them, copy their mindset. Copy their discipline, their curiosity, their hunger to improve. Once you adopt their inner world, your own methods will naturally evolve into something original. But learning alone is not enough. To truly grow, you must measure your growth. That is where the scientist's mindset begins. A scientist doesn't guess. They test, record, and refine. You must treat your learning the same way. Keep a practice log or a learning journal. Write down what you worked on, how long you practiced, what went well, and what felt difficult. Review it weekly. Ask yourself, what improved this week? What needs attention next? When you write, you transform vague feelings into visible data. You stop saying, "I'm not getting better," and start seeing patterns of progress. Maybe you realize that you perform better in the morning, or that you lose focus after 1 hour. That awareness gives you control. If you are learning a skill, speaking, writing, coding, music, fitness, record your sessions. Listen or watch yourself. Notice small improvements others might miss. Each detail becomes a lesson. Each repetition becomes research. Because what you measure, you improve. If you can see your growth, you will believe in it. And if you believe in it, you will keep going long enough to become exceptional. This is the hidden difference between amateurs and masters. Amateurs rely on emotion. They practice when they feel like it. Masters rely on data. They practice whether they feel like it or not, and they adjust their process with logic, not emotion. Tracking your growth builds momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And confidence fuels consistency, the one ingredient mastery cannot exist without. So choose your masters wisely, then study their path deeply. Track your own journey as if it were the most important experiment of your life. Each day, gather data, refine your method, and repeat. Mastery is not luck. It is learning from greatness and measuring your own steps toward it. When you learn like a student but track like a scientist, you don't just improve, you evolve. There comes a point in every journey of mastery when learning alone is no longer enough. To reach true understanding, you must begin to teach. Teaching is not about standing on a stage or showing off what you know. It is about clarity. It forces your mind to organize chaos into order. When you explain something simply, you realize whether you truly understand it. Take your skill, whether it's communication, design, music, or business, and try to explain it to a friend, a colleague, or even to yourself in front of a mirror. Speak as if your listener were 10 years old. When you simplify, you see the gaps in your knowledge. You discover what you only memorized versus what you truly understand. This act transforms knowledge into wisdom. It builds humility, because you realize there is always more to learn. And it builds confidence, because teaching what you know reminds you how far you've come. But here is the second truth of mastery. Real experts do not talk too much about what they are doing. They protect their process. In the modern world, everyone is broadcasting their progress, their plans, their goals. But when you share too early, you invite noise, opinions, and judgment that can distract you from the work itself. Silence is power. It creates focus. When you train in silence, your attention belongs fully to your craft. You stop performing for validation and start improving for growth. Every great master went through a silent phase, the hidden years of practice before the world noticed them. Writers fill notebooks no one reads. Musicians play in empty rooms. Athletes train in the dark long before the lights of the stadium ever find them. That quiet space is sacred. It's where transformation happens. The modern world tells you to announce everything, to prove your progress, to show your ambition. But mastery is not about showing. It's about becoming. Let the world see the result, not the rehearsal. This silence is not arrogance. It is devotion. It is the decision to value depth over display. When you no longer need applause to stay motivated, you gain a new level of freedom. You no longer practice for praise. You practice for excellence. And one day, when your work finally emerges, when the music plays, the book is written, the skill is perfected, it will speak louder than any post or promise ever could. Let your results make the noise. Because mastery is quiet, but its echoes last forever. The path to becoming an expert is not loud or glamorous. It is built through quiet repetition, clear teaching, and consistent refinement. It is for those who are willing to disappear into the process until the process transforms them. So teach what you know. Protect your practice. And let success speak for itself. Because in the end, the loudest sound of mastery is silence, followed by applause that you no longer need.